In our headlines on this Friday, February 13th, here in South Korea, snowboarder Choi Ga-on wins the gold in the women's halfpipe at the Milano Cortina Winter Games in a dramatic turn of events after her first two falls. Meanwhile, a Japanese news agency says Prime Minister Takaichi will visit South Korea in March, in line with the two countries' back-and-forth diplomacy. And the Finance Ministry says the Korean economy continues to gain strength, bolstered by domestic consumption and overseas demand for semiconductors. Korea's economy appears to be sustaining its climb toward broader stability on the back of stronger domestic consumption and overseas semiconductor sales. Now, this is according to the Finance and Economy Ministry. Our correspondent Kim Jun-hong covers its latest assessment.
South Korea's economy continued its recent positive trend in January, supported by stronger consumer confidence and the semiconductor-led export boom. That's according to the Ministry of Finance and Economy's monthly Green Book, which has described the economy as being in recovery for a fourth straight month.
The economy is maintaining its rebound, with consumption picking up and semiconductor exports leading the way. Although indicators briefly adjusted in October due to base effects, the recovery trend has resumed since November.
In December, overall industrial output rose 1.5% from a month earlier, with gains in manufacturing, construction, and services. Service output, retail sales, and construction investment also increased. Facility investment, however, fell 3.6%. Exports totaled $65.8 billion in January, up 33.9% from a year earlier, to reach the highest January figure on record. The ministry credited robust semiconductor shipments, which posted triple-digit on-year growth, for leading the export surge. Total exports to the United States, China, and ASEAN countries all increased. Consumer confidence improved in January, with the index edging up 1 point from a month earlier to 110.8. Inflation rose 2.0% from a year earlier, as price pressures on agricultural and seafood products eased. However, the Finance Ministry voiced continued concerns over the pace of recovery in construction investment, the impact of U.S. tariffs, and weak job conditions in vulnerable sectors. It added that it will step up macroeconomic support while pushing measures to revitalize consumption, investment, and exports. Kim Jun-hong, Arirang News.
Japanese Prime Minister Takaichi may visit South Korea in March for talks with President Lee Jae-myung. Now, citing unnamed government sources, Japanese news agency Jiji Press reported back on Thursday that the visit is being considered as part of the two leaders' back-and-forth diplomacy, with President Lee Jae-myung's hometown of Andong City in Gyeongsang-buk-do Province as a possible venue. A Blue House official told Arirang News that while both sides remain committed to continuing these summit exchanges, no specific dates have been set. The two leaders last met in Japan's Nara Prefecture last month. Here on the peninsula, North Korea's Kim Yo-jong has responded to recent remarks of regret by Unification Minister Chung Dong-young with regard to drone incursions into the regime by civilians here. Our Lee Seung-jae covers this response.
The younger sister of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has responded to South Korea's recent expression of regret over a drone incursion, calling the move sensible, while demanding concrete steps to prevent a repeat. In a statement carried by the North Korean Central News Agency on Friday, Kim Yo-jong said it was fortunate that South Korean Unification Minister Chung Dong-young officially expressed regret over what Pyongyang called a drone intrusion into its territory. She said she appreciated the remark as sensible behavior. Earlier this week, Chung voiced regret over drones allegedly sent to the north by civilians and said Seoul is pursuing mutual recognition and peaceful coexistence between the two Koreas. Kim Yo-jong, however, stressed that responsibility ultimately lies with the South Korean government. She said Pyongyang is less concerned about who organized the flights, whether individuals or private groups, and more focused on what it calls a serious violation of sovereignty and national airspace. She also issued a warning saying any recurrence of what the North views as provocations would trigger a harsh response. According to her statement, one of several counterattack options would be selected, and the response would go beyond proportionality. Kim's remarks on Seoul's response, however, were not published in the Nodong Shimun, the North's main newspaper for domestic readers. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
Earlier this week, top diplomatic and trade officials of South Korea and the Netherlands sat down for their first meeting under the so-called 2+2 framework to seek ways to strengthen partnership. Well, for more insight into those initiatives, our Oh Soo-young reached out to the Dutch foreign minister to take a listen.
South Korea and the Netherlands are natural partners in chip technology and are bound together as liberal democratic middle powers. That's according to Dutch Foreign Minister David van Bijl, speaking with Arirang News during his visit to Seoul.
So I think that both the Netherlands and Korea have been thriving due to the international rules-based order that's been built in the 80 years since the Second World War. We are both entrepreneurial countries, we have open economies, we are outward-oriented, we depend on other countries for our well-being and our economies, so that really binds us together.
The first 2+2 meeting of foreign and trade ministers took place in Seoul on Wednesday, with the two countries' semiconductor alliance as the main agenda. While Korea's Samsung Electronics and SK Hynix produce more than half the world's memory chips, Dutch firm ASML's lithography technology is an integral part of producing the most advanced semiconductors.
I think we're very complementary. But we also want to make sure that we safeguard this technology, use it in a responsible way, and also make sure that our potential adversaries don't make misuse of this.
This comes amid supply chain disruptions, economic coercion by larger powers, and technological rivalry.
I think it's very important for middle powers like Korea and the Netherlands are to hold hands and to make sure that we keep advocating this international rules-based order that has brought us so much. And yes, that sometimes means that you also need to reduce dependencies, whether it's in the field of security or in the field of economy, to get a more even balanced approach within our alliances.
Cooperation is also broadening beyond economics to include defence and regional security in the Indo-Pacific.
Last year, our navies conducted a joint exercise, and as a former naval officer and also having spent time in NATO working on hybrid threats and cybersecurity, how do you intend to deepen the security partnership between South Korea and the Netherlands?
So I think there's a lot of opportunities in defence industry, in defence innovation, because both of our countries are very highly involved in new technologies, and we will see those technologies also seeping into the military, whether it's AI, the use of drones, which we're already seeing in Ukraine, or cyber. This will be a large part, and also we believe it important to be present in this region, if only for the freedom of navigation that we hold so high. So we will send a frigate again this year in 2026 to the region to participate in exercises with various countries here.
Also during his visit, Van Bijl met with Unification Minister Chung Dong-young in light of Seoul's new policy of peaceful coexistence with North Korea. The Dutch Foreign Minister noted with caution Pyongyang's ongoing cooperation with Russia.
It has been supplying soldiers, it has been supplying equipment, and that cooperation only seems to deepen. At the moment, that makes it very, very hard to see anything positive happening vis-à-vis the North Korean regime. And I think that at the moment we would advocate for sanctions and pressure to stop this alignment and to make sure that North Korea doesn't gain any sensitive technologies from Russia in return for their help on this senseless war of aggression in Ukraine.
As Seoul and The Hague advanced their strategic partnership, the minister emphasized underlying common values.
I believe that we have a great basis to build on. I probably insulted your nation by saying you are like the Dutch people in Asia, but I mean that in a very positive way, that you are forthcoming, you are entrepreneurial, you are outgoing, and when you make a deal, it is a deal. And that for us are golden values that we find reflected in Korean society as well.
Minister David Van Vel, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Import prices here rose for the 7th month in a row in January, despite a dip in global oil prices and a weaker US dollar. The data from the Bank of Korea shows the import price index inched up 0.4% on month, driven by raw materials and intermediate goods. Meanwhile, export prices jumped 4% on month, led by manufacturing products. The volume of exports also surged 28.3% on year, bolstered by soaring technology demand. Analysts say exports have enhanced Korea's trade conditions, with the net barter terms of trade gaining 8.9% on year. And Moody's Investor Service has kept South Korea's sovereign credit rating at AA2 with a stable outlook. Now, this rating has been retained by South Korea since December 2015 and is the third highest level under the Moody's rating table. The agency linked the latest rating to steady institutional management in addressing relevant challenges. It also forecasts that the local economy would grow 1.8% this year, driven by chip exports amid growing AI-related investments. This outlook falls largely in line with that by other international organizations. On the cultural front, a Grammy award-winning musician wrote, directed and stars in a movie titled K-Pops that shares a deeply personal story of family and ambition. Our culture correspondent Paak spoke with him.
A new K-pop challenge for this African-American artist of ethnic Korean heritage, Anderson Paak. The multi-Grammy winner is pulling double duty, starring in and directing the upcoming movie K-Pops. The film centers on a struggling musician who reconnects with his rising K-pop star son and enters Seoul's fiercely competitive K-pop scene. And the inspiration, his K-pop loving son, who also appears in the movie as his on-screen son.
He was like, I don't really want to listen to your music now. I'm listening to BTS, Stray Kids. He was into it, and I was kind of like the odd man out. And so I was learning about all the K-pop music. I thought that could be a unique way to tell and shine a light on both sides of my culture, my Black culture and my Korean culture.
The idea was born during COVID when his tour was halted and father-son time naturally increased, eventually leading to 5 years of working and acting together. Paak says his son was a constant source of encouragement along the way.
I didn't know that if I could be on set 6 a.m. every day and also learn my lines, also get the music done, I was getting scared. And I was asking my son, like, do you want to do this still? And he was like, I better do this. I've been in acting classes and dancing classes for a year. Like, I'm ready. Let's do it. And so I was like, all right, let's do it, man. I'm ready to go. If you're not scared, I'm not scared. And we'll learn this together. And
beyond the hard work, he says the project allowed him to expand his artistry beyond music and to share it at a time when K-pop dominates the global stage.
I think it's just impeccable, like on the heels of things like K-pop Demon Hunters. And I just hope that the people within K-pop continue to appreciate the culture, the art, and, continue to go back and maybe bring and reach back within, some of the people that they pulled from.
The film also features K-pop heavyweights, including G-Dragon, Vernon of 17, Jay Park and Jessie in cameo roles and on the official soundtrack. And for the cast, the story also hits close to home.
It's very reflective of our own journey as struggling musicians. There's a lot of similarities between the Black and Korean community, and in a world where everything online is so divisive and everyone's kind of fighting on the internet. We wanted to bring kind of joy through music and two communities together through music.
Bridging cultures through a shared musical journey, the film's already gaining global attention after screening at major festivals, including the Toronto International Film Festival. And now, K-Pops is set to hit US theaters on February 27th. Paak, Arirang News.
And curtains have gone up for this year's League of Legends Champions Korea, with the playoffs kicking off back on Thursday here at the home stadium. Our Chung Hye-rim files this report.
Surrounded by legendary champion statues and bathed in immersive blue lighting, this is Chiji Park. Known as the beating heart of League of Legends Champions Korea, this dedicated gaming stadium hosted the first round of the playoffs on Thursday, featuring 5 matches between DN Supers and BNK. At the entrance, a shop filled with fan favorites from uniforms to League of Legends merchandise. The playoffs have attracted many fans of both teams who are eager to show their support, including at the Bilgewater Zone, where people can design their own cheer banners.
I'm a big fan of Dudu, and today's a revenge match, so I hope his team wins. Good luck, DN Supers.
The stadium also featured events run by the teams. BNK hosted a booth with their signature fox character. As LCK is loved by both domestic and international fans, the stadium was also full of tourist attractions. Team uniforms, accessories, and trophies were on display, highlighting the significance of Korea's role in esports.
Yeah, it looks very impressive. Like I've been on to venues in Europe, for example, and they're also very impressive, but this is like another level.
One by one, fans entered the stadium, filling the arena with raw emotion. Fans roared with excitement at every kill, or groaned in collective disappointment as the tide of battle turned. DN Supers took the first set, defying most predictions and showcasing their determination to reach the top. With the first round of the 2026 LCK Cup playoffs just finished, the atmosphere here at the LCK Arena is electric. The winner today will take a step closer to the finals in Hong Kong. However, the battle was far from over. The series turned into a grueling marathon, going the full 5 sets. Despite DN Supers' early momentum, BNK fought back fiercely and ultimately secured a hard-fought 3-2 victory late into the night. The match was a reminder of the intense passion that drives the league. As the road to Hong Kong continues, the heat of the LCK is burning hotter than ever. Chung Hye-rim, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, at the Winter Games in Italy, South Korean snowboarder Choi Ga-on has become the latest living testimony of the popular phrase, "the third time's the charm." Our Kim Do-yeon explains.
From the brink of being taken off the course on a stretcher to the top of the podium, 17-year-old Choi Ga-on took gold in the snowboard halfpipe at the Milano Cortina Winter Games on Thursday, despite falling on her first 2 runs. Her first fall was especially concerning, with officials even preparing a stretcher fearing a serious injury. She managed to get up, but fell again in her second run, leaving her sitting in last place with 1 chance left. In her third and final run, Choi landed her signature switch backside 900 perfectly. Judges awarded her a massive 90.25, vaulting her past defending champion from the US, Chloe Kim, who was leading with a score of 88. When Kim fell on her own final run, Choi's victory was sealed. Ironically, Choi had named Kim as her idol in an interview with Korean broadcaster JTBC prior to the competition, saying Kim never gives up and stays focused to win on her third run, even if she falls on her first 2. Both competitors' relationship also goes a long way back, as Kim's father helped Choi train and compete in the US from a young age. Choi has now broken Chloe Kim's record to become the youngest ever winner in this event, while securing the nation's first ever gold in snowboarding. South Korea has stayed strong in the snowboarding section during this event as a whole, picking up a gold, a silver, and a bronze medal. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.
Hello and welcome. I am your AI sports correspondent, Arirang. This section features AI-generated content and scripts, bringing you the latest news from the Olympic Winter Games Milano Cortina 2026. Here are our top stories. South Korean skater Im Jong-un has won the bronze medal in the men's 1,000-meter short track. The 18-year-old clocked a time of 1 minute and 24.611 seconds after making a late push from 5th place to the lead group during the final lap. Following a photo finish, officials awarded the gold medal to Jens van About of the Netherlands and silver to China's Sun Rong. This podium finish at the Milano Ice Skating Arena on Thursday is the first medal for the South Korean short track team and the nation's fourth overall at the 2026 Games. The South Korean women's curling team defeated host nation Italy 7-2 in their second round-robin match on Friday in Cortina d'Ampezzo. Led by skip Kim Eun-ji, the Korean squad secured a decisive 4-point lead in the sixth end, which prompted Italy to concede the match. The victory gives South Korea a 1-1 record in the preliminary stage following an opening loss to the United States. The team will face Great Britain on Friday. South Korean skeleton athlete Jung Seung-gi finished in a tie for 8th place after the first 2 runs on Thursday at the Cortina Sliding Center. Jung recorded a combined time of 1 minute, 53.22 seconds, trailing leader Matt Weston of Great Britain by 1.13 seconds. The result places Jung in a 3-way tie for 8th place, with Chinese sliders Yin Zheng and Lin Qinhui heading into the final day of competition on Friday. Freestyle skier Jung Dae-yoon finished 19th in the men's moguls on Thursday. Jung reached the first final at Living Yo Aerial's Moguls Park after placing 4th in the second qualification round, but a balance error during his final descent resulted in a score of 34.28. The mistake prevented the 2025 FIS World Championships bronze medalist from making the top 8 and advancing to the final round to compete for a medal. Before we head out, let's look ahead. Appearing now on your screen are the current medal standings and the upcoming schedule for the Olympic Winter Games Milano Cortina 2026.
Ultrafine dust levels are at emergency levels this evening. The first high concentration dust reduction measures of the year have been issued for Seoul, Gyeonggi-do, and the west of Gangwon-do province. But air quality will get worse as we move into the night. And many dry weather advisories have been lifted except for the East Coast. But with warm and dry conditions continuing and more people visiting grave sites during the holiday period, wildfire risks remain elevated. Tomorrow morning, Seoul wakes up to a low of 4 degrees Celsius, Gwangju at 2 degrees. Then by the afternoon, Seoul will make it to 12 degrees Celsius, Daegu, Gyeongju at 17 degrees. Now, Lunar New Year's Day and the final day of the holiday will be mostly clear and mild, though mornings will dip below freezing. With that in mind, here's a look at the international weather conditions.
Right, those are the headlines at this hour here in South Korea. As always, thank you for watching.